Is there anyone who the words beta male describes better than USC head coach Lincoln Riley? Anyone? Welcome back to Hall of Fame College Football with Jason and the Coach. I'm your host, Jason Watkins, and if you love college football, you know you're in the right place. So before you forget, smash that red subscriber button, like our videos, and don't forget to ring the bell so you don't miss one moment of Hall of Fame College Football. All right, so I've probably done this video 3 times in the last 36 hours. And in different ways, I guess. And I come to the conclusion that there's really not a ton to say. I'll get into why I think what I think. And what I think is that there is one coach that the words beta male accurately describes probably more than anybody else in college football. And that is Lincoln Riley, head coach of the, to hear him tell it, mid-major USC Trojans. Okay, so I'm kind of just going to go rapid fire on this because, to be honest with you, I don't think it deserves more than about 10 or 15 minutes of our time. So let's break down why it is that I believe that now more than ever that Lincoln Riley is as far from an alpha male coach as anybody in college football. And I mean anybody. Reason number 1, Lincoln Riley, not a fan of playing high-level competition, most notably programs out of the SEC. Reports from Saturdays down south in recent weeks, months maybe, describe a sniveling, groveling, begging Lincoln Riley, trying for, and unsuccessfully I might add, into canceling their upcoming season opener out in Las Vegas, scheduled for week 1. Also, apparently, he whined and complained enough to new USC athletic director Jen Cohen that within the last month or so, Ole Miss came out and said that USC had called and canceled their previously scheduled home-and-home series with the Rebels in Lane Kiffin. Now, these 2 reports and the July 1 revelation by Oklahoma athletic director Joe Castiglione that, well, to paraphrase, essentially said that every coach at Oklahoma, when finding out about the move to the SEC in 2021, was ecstatic about the move. And the ones who weren't, quote, are no longer here, end quote. A direct shot in the direction of Lincoln, of course. And then there is the fact that it's not just the SEC either. Because as we have become increasingly aware of over the past, month or so, maybe 2 months, and first heard on the Colin Cowherd show on Fox, maybe USC should not just not play these SEC schools in the non-conference schedule, but also drop their 100-year-old blood rivalry with Notre Dame. And we're finding out that this is now, as I said before, and guess what? When I talk about Lincoln Riley, am I ever wrong? No, I'm not. No, I'm not ever. Never. As we heard on Wednesday during Riley's press availability at the Big Ten Media Days, it looks like there is actually real danger of the Notre Dame series, which is now over 100 years old, falling by the wayside due to the fact that USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington now reside in the, quote, highly competitive Big Ten Conference with Ohio State, Michigan, Penn State, and whoever else the Pacific Coast new power couple of Colin Cowherd and Lincoln Riley decide is a powerhouse in a given year. Riley all but assured the media scrum in Indianapolis on Wednesday that Marcus Freeman's Irish are probably going to have to join the Big Ten if the series has any shot whatsoever of continuing, at least as far as Riley's concerned. Now, the powers that be at Southern Cal may or may not want to pull the plug on that storied series, but well, let's just kind of show you what it was that he said that kind of hinted in this story. Now, with Big Ten scheduling and really college football scheduling around the country expected to change due to the 12-team college football playoffs, obviously there's been a lot of discussion about the LSU stuff, Ole Miss stuff, and basically he passed the buck on to Nick Saban, the GOAT himself, to retire this year as a reason why he feels like the Trojans should pull the plug on their storied and fierce rivalry with the Irish. Basically, he said, as you see on the screen here, Bama was ahead of the curve for years. They didn't schedule for their fans. They scheduled to win championships. Now, this, of course, I would tell you that I expect Nick Saban is super happy about the fact that Lincoln Riley reduced his championship pedigree all the way down to the longstanding myth held by most people outside of the SEC that Bama has and probably will continue to sit atop a top-heavy SEC league, bolstered by ESPN propaganda and scheduling as many non-conference cupcakes as possible to avoid missing out on their predetermined, God-given slots in the college football playoff. That, of course, was what allowed Saban to hoist a total of 7 national championship trophies, I'm sure, 6 of which came in Tuscaloosa. It was scheduling, I'm sure of it. We all know that the GOAT was, well, quite particular when it comes to how every little thing was done within his program. We've heard the stories about him running plays over and over and over, probably until his teams were ready to drop right on the field during fall camps and such. And it wasn't until they got the play right or got whatever it was correct, but it was until he believed they couldn't get it wrong in a pressure situation. These are the kind of things that Nick Saban did as a head coach, very similar to what you've heard about his mentor and guy that he worked with for such a long time, Bill Belichick, when he was with the New England Patriots. There's a lot more to it than just the scheduling. And again, as I said, that's a myth anyway. Just to fact check it, far be it from me to disagree with a narrative disparaging King Nick. As our friend Jay from Unfair Sports pointed out on X Wednesday, Alabama, over Nick Saban's 17-year tenure, was basically playing Power 5 out-of-conference games against good competition every year. And he went 15-2 in those games as well, losing the first one to Florida State and the last one against Texas last season in Tuscaloosa. So in regards to Lincoln Riley's little narrative, it doesn't really pass, the smell test, as you can see here. 2013 till now, they played Virginia Tech in Atlanta, West Virginia in Atlanta, Wisconsin in Arlington, Texas, USC in 2016, they played them, Florida State the next year, Louisville the year after that, Duke in 2019, Miami in 2021, and the last 2 years against Sarkisian's Longhorns. Now, as you will notice, a lot of these games were at neutral sites like in Atlanta, Orlando, Arlington, etc. But these are always good money games. And listen, it's still a game against a non-Power 5 opponent that the SEC is playing. You are seeing that they're going to do the same thing this year under first-year head coach Kalen DeBoer, traveling up to Wisconsin to play the Badgers and Luke Fickell in week 2. Obviously, you've got to start the season, another SEC program that's keen on their chances to win the national championship. Georgia will be not hosting, but in Atlanta, playing it against the Clemson Tigers and Dabo Swinney. Again, Power 5, recent national champions. It kind of happens. I mean, it's a myth, guys. So in regards to this narrative that Lincoln wants everybody to believe about scheduling in the SEC, just being a real boon to their ability to win national championships. I got to tell you, it's really, it's probably time for Lincoln to. If you're a veteran of this show, of watching Hall of Fame college football with Jason and the coach, you can almost certainly predict the reaction that I got from Coach Roybal himself, a huge Notre Dame fan, about Lincoln wanting to bring to an end their blood rivalry of, again, a century now. But for those of you who don't or have not yet gotten one of the golden takes by the coach himself, let me go ahead and just kind of remind you what he would probably say.
You know what, guys? In a nice way, fuck y'all. We don't give a shit.
I mean, it never fails. This is just how it goes with Coach Roybal. Now, finally, as we approach my self-mandated time limit of, 15 minutes or so for this, I want to close with yet another prime example of Beta Riley rearing his ugly head while at Big Ten Media Days on Wednesday, when the clearly underprivileged Trojans head coach lamented that about the mid-major problems he's been forced to experience as head coach at poverty programs such as Oklahoma and now USC. As you can see here, he complained and talked about how tough it was going to be to win a national championship, to compete at the highest level in the Big Ten, talking about we are playing catch up. Like, we're playing catch up in facilities. We're playing catch up in NIL. We've been playing catch up in damn near every way you can think of. As you can see, his first job at Oklahoma, which I would tell you, left him in a great position when Coach Bob Stoops retired. Heisman quarterbacks, 2 on the roster, defense, especially, an amazing strength and conditioning program ran by Jerry Schmidt, who he fired a couple of years later. They left him a good position. And you don't exactly have issues with any of those kind of things when you have 7 national championships like the Sooners do. At USC, and you start talking about that kind of stuff as well, doesn't look great. They've got 11 natties. 7 since the major wire services came into play, picking champions, and the last 2, of course, coming back in the Pete Carroll days. One of them with Carson Palmer, then Reggie Bush and Matt Leinart. The next year, they, of course, beat Oklahoma big in that game. I hate to even really talk about it, but this is another example of things Lincoln should not be saying, or at least it makes him look like the beta male I'm telling you that he is. At some point, you're going to have to take on a little bit of the blame yourself, Lincoln Riley. And the truth is, I know that you're not one to do that. We heard all the talk when you left Oklahoma in the middle of the night, following losing your final game at Bedlam, about how recruiting at USC, because of its unbelievable resources and history, the mecca of college football, was just going to give you an opportunity to showcase who you are and win national championships much better than it was going to allow you to do so in Norman. We now all know that's bullshit. And the fact is, you just didn't want to play in the SEC, so you ran from it. You're still running from it, canceling the Ole Miss series. You tried to cancel the LSU game, and now you want to cancel Notre Dame. In the end, I got to tell you, I don't really see Lincoln being around a whole lot longer because of the fact that he's a beta kind of coach. He's scared to go up against the best competition. He's made that abundantly clear. And if USC allows this guy to end the series, I get it that they owe him a lot of money. This is a Lincoln problem, not a USC problem. The NIL issues, I'm having a hard time believing that in view of the fact that out of all the schools in the country who have billionaires among their alumni base, USC ranks in the top 10. There's money there. Whatever's going on with that doesn't explain your inability to recruit the kids that are right around the area of the school in California and so on. Am I wrong to believe that, that's the issue going on at USC? That maybe he's just a little bit of a beta male and afraid to play good competition, thinking that's going to actually help him win national championships? When you look at what we're seeing from Brent Venables, it's bring it on.
They're going to give you a lot. We're going to give you, amazing apartments and amazing nutrition and strength and conditioning and elite recovery and brand new suits. But you got to bring effort and attitude and guts and toughness. I can't give that to you. And you got to, you make a conscious decision to bring that every single day. That travels. You got to start completely over when you come here. And if you're not about that, then this isn't the spot for you. We worked hard at trying to protect the things that we're trying to build by being open and honest and transparent in recruiting too. Like what you're getting ready to do will be the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. Are you about that? And if you're not, don't come here.
Venables, it's bring it on. They're going into the SEC with the toughest schedule of any contender, not named Florida anyway. And Brent Venables just keeps saying, bring them on. It's not supposed to be easy to win a national championship, despite what Lincoln may tell you. Let me know what you think in the comments. See you on the next one.